Welcome to Scoreboard, the podcast that explores how athletes both current and retired define success beyond the game. Each episode dives into the mindset, financial decisions and career choices that shape their personal scoreboard, whether they're still in the arena or transitioning to life after sport. From victories to challenges, we reveal how athletes take charge of their own paths and decide what truly matters on their scoreboard of life. I'm your host, Chris Titley, and welcome to Scoreboard. Hi, it's Chris Titley, and as part of today's episode of Scoreboard, I'm joined by Jeff Horn. Jeff, thank you so much for being part of the series.
No worries, Chris.
Jeff, we're here in March of 2025. We've just had the Cyclone Alfred come into Brisbane, Ipswich, Gold Coast, etc. How'd you go, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Just a big branch from a tree fell in the backyard, but
Right.
a bit of a clean-up.
Yeah.
Other than that, broken fence. And
Yeah. Kids at home?
Yeah, kids at home. We
4
just
or
didn't
5
have
days?
power for like 5 days.
You didn't
Or
have
4
power?
days.
You didn't have power for 4 days. What did you do?
Not much.
You have the transistor rate. Did you get the ABC yet?
Yeah, we got all the radios and the torches and things like that. And
You managed to get some batteries?
no batteries. We ended up just going to the parents' house every night, basically.
And the kids survived, living a bit cabin fever?
I think the kids just survived. I think they were used to having a TV or something to play with, or even toys, because we couldn't really see because it's so dark.
Yeah, and nighttime you get the candles out?
Yes.
Yeah, and played some games or just...
Board
straight to bed?
games, a lot of board games, but I love playing board games anyway, so that was good to do.
You're a competitive person, no doubt.
Very
And
competitive.
Do you beat your kids?
Yes.
Yeah. which is your game of choice?
Oh, look, it'd have to be a classic like a Monopoly or something like that. But with the kids, we're playing like what is it? It's like a zombie game where the zombies are chasing you and you flip cards and it does certain things. I don't know.
And you're like, that's it, I'm winning, or do you give them a little bit of slack? Come on.
No, not really. Like
No?
because right, I've got to have fun as well. So if I'm playing the game properly, I'm doing what I'll do to win. But they're the exact same. So they learn how to lose, which is what kids need to learn. And when they win, they're very happy about it too.
Have you seen the Bluey episode, the Lockie's rules on the pass the parcel?
No,
back in our
haven't
day, our generation, when pass the parcel, there was only one winner.
Yes. Oh, yes, I remember that too.
Right.
That was I feel like that was my generation too.
Yeah.
One person gets the prize.
Yeah, and there was a Bluey episode about it where they said, "No, we're playing Lockie's dad's rules, where it's just one person, and then the first time they play pass the parcel, all the kids are crying because they didn't get a prize, and then after a while they build a little bit of resilience,
Yes.
and then they realise that that's what we played, but not everyone gets a lolly on every turn.
Yeah.
So you're a bit like that with your kids now.
I think I think one gets the prize of the game, right?
Yeah.
And you can have the little lollies or something as a consolation prize for the other ones.
The participation
Yeah,
award.
if you want to, but
Yeah.
one winner.
Mate, apart from the floods, 2025, how's it started for you?
Look, it's been good. It's been good. We're pumping along and doing what we're doing. We're updating the program all the time. We get great feedback from teachers, and I was once a teacher, but it's been a little while since I've been in the classroom, so knowing all the little nitty gritties and knowing what they want.
So when people say Mr. Horn, does it bring back memories?
It does. I don't get called Mr. Horn very often, that's for sure.
So if I say, Mr. Horn, how's your 2025 been, right? So Bullyproof, do you want to talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah.
Yep, so Bullyproof, we're in about 80 plus schools. I think we'll be in 100 schools pretty soon. And we're teaching kids how to manage conflict, basically, and teaching the teachers, basically, the same skills, because we don't actually get taught these skills in our lives. We just kind of go through and hopefully we manage it all right, but some kids don't. So we're just trying to make sure that everyone knows these certain skills and how different avenues and that they can talk to people, and that makes life a hell of a lot easier.
So the framework, the process around dealing with conflict, again, we're sort of like flying in the dark as you grow up. You kind of you do things, or you act, or you say things you shouldn't say, or whatever. Mm-hmm. This is about building a program, a framework for the teachers to help the kids, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a program to coach the coaches.
Exactly.
Somewhat, yeah. And it's school-based.
Yeah.
And it's to prevent and to, assist with bullying, that happens at
school.
So
a lot of parents these days there's a lot of two working parents in a household. So who's actually teaching the kids all the necessary skills that they're going to need with conflict throughout life? And normally they're just getting in trouble at school or at kindy or wherever they are, and they get smacked or time out or something, and they don't really understand what they're doing wrong. But we've got a program now that's actually going to teach them what in different scenarios how to handle them.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, no, for sure. And then from the age of bullying can start very early.
It does.
You know, and I've read in different articles and podcasts that you were bullied at school. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you remember that pretty vividly?
Yeah. Look, it's a distant memory now, but I can remember the feelings that I had. They're the things that stand out to me, and I can remember feeling horrible. I can remember not feeling very happy about my life and not really wanting to be around anymore. So that's a feeling that you don't want to have in children, especially teenagers, and because we know they can do silly things. And I almost did a silly thing, and I would have never done what I've been able to do and done the amazing things. So it's just goes to show kids need to have somewhere to turn to or someone to talk to about problems that they have at that age.
And is it a primary school and high school program?
Yes. So we're teaching them now from as early as prep all the way to grade 12.
And something that we didn't have growing up was the phone, the internet, broadly speaking, and the ability to communicate in different ways and streaming services and all that stuff that kids love now. But that in its own right, I think cyberbullying is something which, obviously as a parent cognizant of right now, but it can be pretty brutal and pretty harsh.
Yeah, well, the social media stuff is ever changing all the time. It's probably a good thing that the government have probably banned young kids from being on it. But how do you know what your kids are chatting to in a group chat on social media, and if they're getting bullied or getting harassed? We would have no idea. So it's being able to educate them of what happens, then be the trusting person they can go to and go, hey, this is happening to me, or this person's saying this something. What can I say or do?
Yeah. And little Jeff playing sport, what was your sport when you were growing up?
I was a football player, soccer player.
Soccer player? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a team back then that you followed?
No, not
Just
really. I
wanted to
used
play.
to just like all the international teams, Australian team, Brazilian soccer team.
Yep. Every 4 years a World Cup would come around.
Yeah,
You get
exactly.
involved, yeah?
Yeah, 100%.
And so aspiring soccer player and played for your local clubs and whatnot?
Yep. I was a Acacia Ridge Soccer Club
Yep.
boy and really enjoyed it. Then I ended up going to Queensland Lions Club, and I think that's where I basically finished. Oh, no, I finished off in Rochedale, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rochedale
All strong
Rovers
clubs.
or something, yeah.
And so you were pretty good at it? You realised you were
I
pretty
was
good at it?
okay. I was good, but I
Yeah.
wasn't good enough to crack it through. And I think it took me about 12 years to figure that out. And so I finally said, okay, I'm not gonna do this anymore.
Not going to do this anymore, but what are you going to do? You wanted to keep in sport somewhere?
I wanted to keep in sport, and it was really, I was looking around. I was like, I'll probably just go learn some martial arts or something, because I'll be going out night clubbing and stuff with the girlfriend, and I'll know how to protect her, protect myself, and learn some of those important skills. And that's where I found boxing.
So the self-defense was where it all started. Something to say, I want to protect myself, or in a situation where there's a little bit of unruliness or something, that I can actually hold up my own. Is that the
exactly?
theory?
Yeah.
And were you out clubbing and stuff like that in Brisbane?
I was, yeah.
What was your favourite? We were just talking about this
Oh,
before, actually, prior to
gosh.
the podcast. It was City Rails is down here, and
Yeah.
we were talking about Alice's. I don't know.
Fridays. I don't
Fridays
know,
was
yeah.
Fridays International, I used to call it.
Yeah. I can't even
remember?
remember what
Yeah.
the names of them were anymore.
Transcontinental? Remember the
No,
trans?
not trans.
No. Anyway, so too long ago. But fun times nonetheless.
It was.
Fun times. And that girlfriend that you had now is your wife still?
Yes,
As in,
that's
not
it.
still, but yes, your wife.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
she is. Yeah, we've been together for, 20 years or something now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's been a long time.
Excellent. And getting back to the self-defense mechanism, you started, Taekwondo, was it, you said?
No, it was just martial arts,
Martial arts,
basically.
yeah.
So,
Yep.
everything.
And how did you go in sort of enjoying that sort of aspect of defense and using your body to kind of, be a little bit defensive?
Yeah, I did enjoy it, and that's where I got more confidence from that, and that's when I noticed boxing at the gym, and I was like, I really focused on the hands part. I found I was really good hand-eye
As opposed
coordination.
to the feet.
Yeah, I didn't like
kicking.
getting kicked, basically, and I wasn't extremely good at kicking either, so it just was...
So, yeah, I've interviewed some of the water polo players, and they used to be swimmers, and they're just like, I don't like the swimming, but I like being in the pool.
Yeah.
But I love playing sport in a team environment or an individual environment, but swimming, the laps and all that sort of stuff, no
Yeah.
good. So water polo
Yeah.
it is a similar sort of analogy to you. Like, I was I like the hands, but the
Yes.
feet, no, the kicking, no good.
Exactly. Basically, same thing but different, and getting hit in
And
different
do you remember that
areas.
first ever time going boxing? Boxing, I wonder what that's like.
Yeah, kind of. It all happened pretty
Yeah.
quickly. Like I was
A
like,
late
okay,
bloomer.
yeah, I was very late because I think I was basically 19 by the time was like, okay, I'm gonna train to have my first boxing match, and that's when I trained basically about 8 months or so for my first match, where I had it nearly 20 years old.
Right. Okay. And let's go to that first match. You remember what happened?
I versed a guy, I think his name was Alex Smith at Acacia Ridge Hotel. I won by stoppage, which was lucky. With first boxing match I had, to win it in that fashion was really good. I think he was a kickboxer going into a boxing match, so I guess that was a little bit easier for a boxer to dismantle a kickboxer.
When you were looking at boxing in that first match, was there something in your brain going, to be a really good boxer, I need to do X? And was that true, or did it change over time?
Look, there's so many things, that ingredients that can, if one of them is missing, it can make you from a superstar boxer to a little bit under that, which is a big pay drop in the boxing world. So you just got to have everything, basically. You have to have that drive, you have to have the discipline, you have to have everything there to do it. You have to have that natural ability.
And that discipline and drive and the training and the relentless kind of reps, I suppose, in various different aspects of boxing, where did that drive come from?
I just always wanted to be a sports star. It was soccer in my brain. That's what I was picturing and hoping for. But when that disappeared, I still had boxing, I guess, there. And I was like, well, this is the sport now I want to have a crack at.
And what were the things around being a sports star as a kid that you wanted? Was it like seeing the posters on the wall and seeing people recognise you and knowing your name?
I think it was more they're just having fun. Like, right? That's sports fun. Like it's just a game, really, but a competitive game. And I'm a big gamer, and that's kind of what I wanted to do for a living, because these guys are doing it for a living, getting paid well to do it. So that was the main thing of going, I will enjoy that life, being able to do that.
And the first time in the ring was like a bit of a thrill. Did you enjoy being in the ring?
Yeah, it was. It's a crazy feeling, and a feeling I understand how some boxers go, oh, I need to go back, and I need to you have them retire, and they go, oh, no, I need to go back and do it again, because they get that hunger that for that victory.
And the hunger for victory was a bit of a multiplier, a bit of addictive, I suppose, the dopamine hit of winning. Did you have a couple of losses along the way, or some hurdles or injuries you're like, oh no, just throw in the towel?
Yeah, well, I think it was my fourth amateur bout, I was at the Australian titles, and I ended up losing there. So I could have given up as well, right? I've four boxing matches in, and I could have gone, okay, this is my level. Okay, I can pass it in now. So there I could have quit when I lost along the way, because I had 18, I'm pretty sure it was about 18 losses in my amateur boxing career, and I had 66 matches, so nearly 1 in 4, basically, I'm losing. But there were such necessary losses for me to improve. Like, the losses in boxing is where I learnt the most. You don't learn as much from the victories, but when you lose, you really look at it and go, what did they do? What did they use that beat me? And that's what I just grabbed and used those skills to kind of get better and better.
How do you instill that to kids these days about winning and losing, and also to other athletes, I suppose, because it's such a big dopamine hit when you win, and the thrill and the competitive, I mean, everyone's competitive as an athlete, but then to reflect and to say, like, the what ifs versus actually just calm down, and maybe there's a 24-hour period where you kind of walk away and sob for a bit, but then the learnings happen. How did you go with all that?
Yeah, look, I was pretty good at losing. Like, I was always disappointed, as anyone would be, if their dreams kind of got crushed where they thought they were going to do something faster than they do. But it just gives you a little bit more time to prepare better for the next time. That's all you can do in life. Is you might not be as good as what you could be, but as long as we're getting better every single time.
Yep. And then, so lost the national title, but you were Queensland champion at the time.
Yes.
And then the Olympics sort of came in around that time as
came
well.
Very
it was
quickly.
2012.
It was 4 years. I started when Todd Kidd had finished, so come back from the Olympics. I was pretty lucky that he wasn't at the Queensland titles, or else my career where it went wouldn't have happened because I would have got beaten by him at the Queensland titles. So it just all happened. Everything happens for a reason. And I guess for my story, there was a little bit of luck in there, but I guess you create your own luck. And I trained hard, and I made sure I was prepared for what I thought I was coming up against the best I could, and I took advantage of that.
The Olympic selection, was it a match that you had to win, or was it sort of like a culmination of a period of time?
Yeah, you had to win the state titles, and you had to without losing. You couldn't lose or else you're eliminated. So you had to win the state titles, which could have been a couple of matches. And I had to win the Australian titles, which was 4 matches. So there was like 16 guys in that, and then or maybe more. I can't remember. But I had to win that, and then I had to win the Oceania titles to qualify for the Olympics.
And you did.
And
that
did.
Was there one final match where you're like, this is the one?
Yeah.
And then when you won, you're like, I'm going
to
to be
the Olympics.
Olympian. Yeah. And how did that sit with you?
That was an amazing feeling, and being able to, and I can it brings back memories of walking out with superstars that I was growing up watching on TV, and it was just amazing to be able to do that and share that with basically the whole country.
Yeah, and London 2012, you want to talk about your experience getting on that plane and just getting over there and arriving in Heathrow, slightly different weather to here, but being part of an Olympic outfit wearing the green and gold?
Yeah, that was one of the most exciting things, right, is getting a bag of gear of all Australian tracksuits and T-shirts. And
you're like, I'll take one of that. Yep. And a hat. Yep. I'll take that. Yep.
You don't even have to do that.
They
just give you a whole bag of stuff that you're like, whoa, this is cool. I've still got it today, and I still fit in it. So I'm very proud to have all that gear still.
And it was round 64, I think it was, and then 32, was it? And then 16 that you got to? The quarterfinal, wasn't it?
Yes, I got to the quarterfinal. So there was 8 guys? 4 guys left.
Yes.
Yeah, it was me. No, sorry.
8 guys.
Yeah, 8 guys left.
Yeah.
So I lost against the eventual silver medalist, Denis Berenchik from the Ukraine.
Yep.
Tough guy. But yeah.
And how do you handle that? I mean, obviously very, very proud, but then you're a competitive guy,
right?
Very,
very heartbroken because I had my eyes set on gold. And I guess that's what you have to do in life is set to the top, right? You got to have visuals to be the best. And then if you just miss, then you've done better than a lot of other people that ever have. So I was always aiming for the gold or the world title, whatever it was. But unfortunately, I missed out against someone that was top level at that stage, and I had to reassess where to go from there.
I'm going to touch on 2 points that you just mentioned. One being a big, hairy, audacious goal, like a BHAG. Have you always been a big thinker, like a big, I want to get the Olympic, I want to be a world champion, etc., from the early days? And secondly, you mentioned visualization. Are you a visualizer?
Yes, I am a visualizer. Like, I picture things happening, and I feel like I dream them happening. And sometimes you'll have bad dreams and nightmares, and you'll see the opposite happening of what you want, and that's when I nearly stop myself and go back to it and revisit that whole scenario and change the outcome of it.
Yep, and the big, hairy, audacious goal, like the gold medal was...
You have to. Yeah.
And then the step-by-step to get there.
You have to have a plan of how you're going to get to that goal, but the main thing is the belief and the vision that you're actually going to get that.
And then when you get knocked out at the quarterfinal, right, obviously the big, hairy, audacious goal didn't hit, but is there an element of pride then to say, well, I gave it everything I possibly could, even though there might have been some regrets in that particular fight, but I gave it, regrets can happen so often, I suppose, when things don't go your way. But
look, I think I did, there was 11 of us from Australia that qualified to go to the London Olympic Games. No Australian had ever got a gold medal, a medal since, I think, 1988. Spike Cheney was the last one, I'm pretty sure, that won a silver medal. And that was when I was born. So it was so long since we had actually done very good at the London Olympics, or at the Olympics at all.
Yeah. You're born in 88.
Yeah.
Expo year. Does anyone talk about Expo? And you're like, Expo? Hey?
The
year that changed the city.
I can't remember it.
Oh, well, yeah. To define the city, all the Brisbaneites are like, Expo 88. And everyone eye rolls like, I remember Expo 88. South Bank was around then. So... you come back to the Olympics. You're an amateur at this point in time.
Yes,
because you can't be professional in the
No,
Olympics.
you can't. You can't be. You couldn't be professional at the Olympics at that stage. Now the rules have kind of slightly changed, but Yeah, it's still it's still a different sport, really. Amateur boxing is still a slightly different sport to professional boxing and how it's scored and everything.
And then what was the catalyst, I suppose, to become professional? And what does professional look like? Is it professional being going, right, I'm now fighting for money, but is there like, okay, I can make 50 grand a year, or I can make 100 grand or whatever? Like, was you thinking to become a professional, or was that sort of just organically happened?
I think it was the goal all along is to become a professional, but and to start earning money from the sport. But it was a pipe dream, right? It was like I hope I can get money from this sport somehow. Thankfully, I did pretty good, as I said, in the Olympics, and made it better than any other Australian had for quite a while. But then I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? Go another 4 years to get to the Olympics? I used basically my first 4 years to get to the London Olympics as as my course to train, to learn of how to become a good boxer. And that's why I transitioned into the pros to go, now it's time to start making money. I need to start bringing money in because the wife at that stage was earning way more money than I was. And I was just like,
the competitiveness in you went,
it
right,
was.
no.
I had to work, right? I had to bring in money somehow. And that was through professional boxing.
What about Mr. Horn, teacher?
Yeah, I was teaching at the same time. That was at the Olympics. I was still teaching as a classroom teacher.
So in my eyes, going professional in boxing is going all in, and there's prize money and there's endorsements and sponsorship. But at the sort of lower level, it must be like you don't draw yourself a salary every week, right?
No, exactly. So the amateurs, basically, you're getting nothing from it other than maybe potentially government incentives that you might be able to get your hands onto, but it's very hard. But the professional is all about you train for a boxing match and you go to a promoter and they go, yep, we'll pay you this much for a fight against this guy. And because I had a bit of a name from the Olympics, I probably got paid a little bit more starting off than a normal one did, but I still, it was probably, what was it? My first boxing match was probably a few $100 around. Like it's not much. And then it ended up being, I ended up getting a winner takes all bout against a guy over in Perth, and that was 8,000 winner takes all. So I could take 4,000, and that was for a 6-round fight against a former world champion. And
you had to pay for your own way, obviously, over to Perth and things like that?
I'm pretty sure they covered those as type of expenses.
Yep. But it's a big build-up for $4,000 or $6,000 to kind of go, I have to do this as a living.
Yes.
50 times to make $300,000 or whatever it might be.
Exactly.
And what about any sponsors or anyone that sort of backed you that says, right, I'm on here.
Yes.
Jeff's going to be all right.
Yes, I did have early sponsors from back in the day. Definitely that helped out, like Barrier Reef Pools, Recon Solutions, Oxmar Properties. Yep. Yes, there's so many that jumped on board to kind of help me out and make sure I could basically do that as a living.
And then the teacher's renewal came around. Did you pay the money to keep being a teacher, or did you you went?
One day I kept getting the teacher registration. I kept paying it for a while, but then I'm like, I'm probably never going back. I'm probably not going to need to go back in the classroom, so I just ended up just letting it go.
And you're making ends meet by boxing, and you're being a pro, etc. And then you had a goal in mind.
And the goal in mind was to get to the world title. That was the key. That was the ultimate, is to go, I want to be the best in the world.
Yep. And you start winning, and you're feeling good, and you're starting getting paid a few more bucks.
Yes.
And you start creeping up.
Yeah, taking risks. Lots of risks. You have to take big risks. Well, that's what I did anyway. Through the management of Glenn, and just making sure that like I was beating guys that he thought I could beat, and I believed in myself because he believed in me, and I did the work because that's what needed to happen to get the victory. So I just kept on taking on guys that I wasn't meant to beat and knocking them over and getting paid good money to do it.
Yeah, and did you ever look at your opposition in detail a lot and spend a lot of time in the opposition, or you're like, I'm going to spend a lot of time on me, knowing that I don't think too many people are doing the reps that I'm doing?
No, like you do a bit of both. Like I did look into the competition and who it was and what their strengths were and then basically training would be along those skills of what that guy did well. What can I do to and hopefully go up against sparring partners that would kind of be like that as well.
And was there always someone that was world champion at the time you thought, like, I just got to knock this bloke off?
Yeah, well, that was the dream for me, right? Is to verse someone like a Floyd Mayweather or a Manny Pacquiao. They were the two biggest names in the sport, and they're in my weight division that I was targeting. And I got the dream come true when I got a phone call after being number 2 in the world, climbing my way up that ladder, knocking over quality opposition, to get a phone call from Manny Pacquiao's team going, "Do you want to fight for $500,000 and a bit of pay-per-view money and in Australia, in Brisbane?" I was like, hell yeah. Why? As if I'm going to say no to this. I'm getting paid probably 20 grand to fight before that, and then it turns into a $1 million payday basically.
Yeah, right. Okay. And did you want to fight him prior to that?
Yeah.
Was there messages getting flown out there?
No. I was never one to kind of spray people. I would just say what my goals were, and whoever had that was my target. And Pacquiao was one of the ones that had the belts, and I was like, well, that's the guy I want to verse.
Yeah, and so, but the message is like, I want to fight you next month or something. I'm keen to fight you. I'm keen to fight you. I'm keen to fight you. And then it just sort of kind of happened.
There was a bit of toing and froing. There was it kind of went off for a little bit, and I was like, is this not happening? I don't know. It was just the politics of boxing, the boxing world, and it was a big kind of thing to try and organise. And luckily, I had a promoter, Dean Lonergan, back then. He had the team around him as well to be able to have those discussions and talks, and with governments and stuff like that, to be able to organise such a massive event.
Yeah, I was going to touch on the Queensland government, the importance of them getting that fight.
If they weren't involved, if the Queensland government weren't involved in that fight, it would never have happened. So without them, I think they're the ones that forked out the $10 million to get Pacquiao here. That's what he got paid, basically. So if we didn't have that type of money to put into Pacquiao, he would have gone.
Australia. Do you know who it was in the Queensland government? Was there someone? Was it tourism, or was it?
Kate Jones, I know, had a lot to do with it. Graham Quirk had, like, anyone around that time, but I know those guys had big things to do with that promotion happening.
And then knowing that it was in your hometown of Brisbane, it's going to be a packed out Suncorp Stadium. There's going to be eyes on you, Jeff Hu, etc. Yeah. How did you go with that leading up to it?
Oh, look, it wasn't something that I kind of focused on. Like I tried not to think about the things I didn't have the control over, and all what I had control over is getting as fit and as strong as possible to try and beat that man across the ring. Thinking about the crowd and stuff like that, I did have to have some thoughts of that to go, okay, you're going into a stadium full of people. You're going to ignore that and just focus on what your goal is in there, and not what to worry about all the people screaming and cheering at you.
A couple of nights before, we talked about visualization. Did you visualize the match?
Yeah, I did. And that's when I said visualize winning, visualize beating him, and using the strategies and the coaching that Glenn was teaching me, and the strategies of what I was going to do in there to upset Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, and going the full 12 rounds, was that the visualization as well?
Well, I was hoping to stop him, of course, hoping to get him with a good shot, but that doesn't always happen. And unfortunately, I was like, if I wasn't able to knock out Manny Pacquiao, which is what I visualized being able to do, if I wasn't able to do that, I was like, they're not going to give me the decision, because that's kind of how boxing kind of works. So the promoters will never really let that happen. But I guess I was signed under Bob Arum for a 2-fight deal after that, and it was all set. Manny Pacquiao could have got a rematch with me straight away if he wanted to, and I was super shocked when I heard Anu standing in the middle of that ring, and changed my life.
That morning it was an afternoon bout. The night before, how'd you go? Sleep okay?
Yeah, look, that's one of my strengths, is being able to shut off and turn off, and I know I can go through stressful times. That was a big stressful thing, but I had control over how I was going to react and what I was going to do in the situation. So I still slept. I closed my eyes. Might have started thinking about it for a second, but go to sleep.
Then you got up, you sort of like, oh, so have some brekkie, and was it all the whole day planned out?
Yeah, basically it was planned out. Eat, waking up at a certain time, eat, recover, make sure I'm drinking plenty of fluids. And
How'd you get to Suncorp? You drive? Someone drive you?
I think a car picked us up.
Car picked you up, and
Yeah.
you're sort of like, oh yeah, I'm a bit of a big deal here.
Yeah,
No?
it was like that.
Yeah.
It was getting driven into
And they're like,
Suncorp
you get a
Stadium.
sort of like a stop, sir. So, no, I'm the one.
Yeah,
fighting?
basically. Basically, you have security guards or everywhere around Suncorp. They're going like, yeah, stop, and you get checked, and they go, oh, yep, it's just...
I can see you on the billboard, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. I'm all down the street of the city.
Yeah. And then getting out, that first, like the name being called and you're walking out, you get nervous?
Yes, you do. You get nervous, but using the nerves as trying not to get too nervous prior, I guess. But you still are. Like you can't help but burn some energy with the nerves and the butterflies that you're getting. Like the moment is coming. It's nearly here. Like what you've been working so hard for months and months is about to happen. So of course there's nerves, but you've just got to try and I think that's something I had special is being able to turn off that part and go, okay, just think about something else and divert the attention and try not to waste that energy on that.
Yeah, right. So there was a technique that you kind of used to ease those nerves is thinking about something else. What were you thinking about? Thinking about, you forgot shopping list or playlist of music or lyrics of songs or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what I would...
NBA scores or something?
Yeah, it would be
Cricket
something. Yeah, something.
Just to get you back to the...
Yeah, and just being able to go clear, being able to go have nothing to think about.
Yeah. And then obviously put your hand up, you won. Jeff Horn, people are like, huh? Jeff Horn is now a household name pretty much instantly.
Yeah.
And the fame and fortune that came after that from a bloke who was dreamed of playing soccer, still middle of Suncorp now, world champion. How'd you go?
Still gives me goosebumps to this day here talking about it, and changed my life, and not something I kind of envisioned, right? Like I imagined, yes, getting the world title and things like that, but the fame and the fortune part is not what was my motivators. They're not things that I was like, oh, I'm going to be rich from this. I'm going to get everyone's going to know who I am. Not the parts that I was like were the important parts. The important parts were the win. The actual win and the victory in the sport that I had chosen.
The belt. To say you're number one in the world.
Exactly.
To say that no one else in the world can beat you.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it sits well with you?
Yeah.
Saying that now? Yeah?
It does. I have to say former now because I can't say I'm world champion now, but I was a former world boxing champion. And
to get to that big, hairy, audacious goal of being world champion and no one can beat you and you're number one in the world, and then thinking about like what next, what was thinking through your brain about what next from then?
To be honest, that's where I probably went wrong. I probably didn't have any other goals after that, and that's where I had to rejig the goals and go, okay, now I've got to be a unified world champion where I've got to get all these belts from the other champions out there, or I've got to go up a weight division and beat guys and be a multiple world title holder of different weights. It's that's where the hunger for me, I should have dreamt probably slightly bigger, even though people go, well, you dreamt to be world champion. That's huge. But I should have, if I wanted to picture even going better in the sport, then maybe I would have done that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like the people like LeBron James win an NBA title and they want to win 3 or 5, or Steph Curry, and even the AFL watching like last year the Lions won. It's like they're playing again, obviously this year, but that's such a high of winning your dream come true, which will change your life. But then it's like, okay, we want a second one, or we want a third one, we want a fourth one. It's a bit of a hard brain.
Do you want to get the record?
Yeah, or get the record, or be the
whole
best.
world.
And then from sort of broadly speaking, not too many people knowing your name, so everyone sort of knowing your name, knowing who you are, and stopping you on the street. Did you find that a little bit uncomfortable?
It was crazy. Life had definitely changed, and I think I quickly figured that out straight after it. When I had to have security guards to have people keep people away so that I could have peace of walking somewhere. So it was a crazy time, I guess, in my life, and just got shot up into stardom all of a sudden, and woke up the next morning. I was like, holy crap! Everyone knows who I was. I got a photographer sitting out the front of my house, going, just want to get. It was paparazzi basically, but they're like, I just I was a nice enough person to go, "What do you want?"
Did you want
he's
me to smile?
Yeah. He's
Do you want me to, like, do a thumbs up or something?
Yeah,
Yeah?
exactly. And that's when I said, he's like, "Oh, can you just take your bins out or something?" I was like, "Sure."
That's what a person
Sure,
does,
that's what
no
you
matter
want.
who you
Exactly.
are, right?
But
Yeah.
it wasn't bin day. That's the
Oh.
difference. But he said, "Can you just take
Here's
your
Jeff
bins
Horn
out?"
taking his bins out on a Thursday. And he goes,
Yeah.
mate, it's Monday. You know
Yeah.
that? Oh,
People thought
sorry, I'll take them out on Monday.
People thought I'd been punched in the head too many times, maybe.
Right. Mate, and how did you go with the smile? Like, to get the smile to the camera,
Yeah.
hold, and again?
I don't know. Lucky I'm probably normally smiling and happy anyway, right? But it was.
Now we're 8, coming up to 8 years on from that, and you still get recognised. Still people stop you in the street. Still reminisce. Does it bring you back to those times, or do you just like move on? It's a chapter's closed now. The new chapter's.
I think that is a moment in my life. It's such a big change in it, and it's like having kids, right? You don't not forget having that moment in your life. It was like the world title is kind of up in those moments. Not as big, of course, of having children, but I'm never going to forget, and I guess other people probably never going to forget the feeling because they kind of felt a part of the event at that stage, whether you're watching on TV at home or you're at one of the 51,000 and something people at Suncorp Stadium. It was a crazy feeling, and it was a great energy in there, and it was something that changed history.
Yeah, and the relationship with boxing, your relationship with boxing over time, how do you think that's gone in terms of like a graph, I suppose? Is it always gone on the up, or is it plateaued and sort of going down a little bit now?
Oh, look, it definitely has its plateaus, that's for sure, and that happens when you have losses in your career, and then when it's sometimes good, right? Because then people don't really want much to do with you, because then you can have your kind of time more to yourself.
You can get a coffee shop without being
exactly. But I don't know. It's definitely had its ups and downs throughout my boxing career, but I wouldn't change it.
Yeah, are you, like, from a regret point of view, do you regret things? Or you move on? Definitely.
You regret way you handle some things, and but look, you just keep trying to be, as I said, if you learn from your mistakes and then improve from it, that's all you can do in your life.
And you don't hold on to hindsight too much?
No. Like, what's the point? If I would have known what I know now back then, things could have been very different, but it's good to learn.
And then to hang up the gloves was about, I think, 18 months ago, something like that, like mid to 20,
I think it's longer.
23 or something, or 2 years maybe.
Yeah.
And the decision to hang up the gloves and to do something else, was it a tough decision?
Look, I was getting big offers all the time to go back and have a last hurrah and things like that. But I was
lots of money, I would imagine.
Yeah, like we're talking $1 million to come back and to get back in there again. That's a lot of money. $1 million is can do a lot. I'm probably more an investment in a long time viewer of money, and I go $1 million and you get an interest rate of 6% back on that. That's
compound interest, the Warren Buffett way.
That's $60,000 a year that you're completely earning for the rest of your life, basically, with $1 million.
And the secret is it's not $60,000 the following year; it's $63,000.
It's exactly. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
but money then's worth less and less the more
in your own.
Goes.
Yeah, true. That's right. Yeah, $12 for a coffee and croissant these days. Yeah.
Exactly.
So the decision to hang up the boots. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boots,
so it was
gloves, not boots, gloves. Yeah.
Yeah. It was I guess a good decision. I had another goal in mind anyway at that stage, and that was to Bullyproof Australia, and that's why Bullyproof was created. And we're doing what we can now to get in as many schools and to save as many lives out there from bullying.
Yep, excellent. And then
and look, we're always going to have bullying, right? And it's a part of life, but it's to teach the ones that can't really manage it mentally, that struggle with it so bad, because some people can have it horrible, and it's just teaching them the skills and the answers. And there's people out there that are willing to talk to you and hear you out and help fix your problem.
Yeah, and you attending those school functions and talking, how's the public speaking circuit gone for you?
Yeah, look, it's great. I love talking to the kids as well. As being a former teacher, it's cool being able to keep spreading the message to the school kids. And the crazy thing is, when I was a teacher, they don't listen very well. The kids, when you're the classroom teacher, but when I get up there and I'm speaking as the ambassador as Jeff Horn, there's this person who's done something amazing. They go, oh, I'll listen to that. So hopefully my message is getting across to a fair few of the kids out there. Yeah.
And as your kids get a little bit older, you realise that they don't listen to you as a parent. So you
100%.
need someone else external, maybe your friends.
They do at the moment.
Put your shoes on. Your mum said to put your shoes on. And they go, sorry. But if you say put your shoes on, you repeat yourself 5 or 6 times. Now, life as a parent, life as a dad, how's it going?
I love being a parent. As I said, it's one of the best thing that's happened to me in my life is becoming a parent, and I just love doing it.
And instilling the values and the principles that you've had through your sporting career, through your boxing career, and now getting on to your kids and teaching them about you and what you're doing. You find that a bit cathartic, a bit fun?
Yeah, it is. And I just try and everything's fair, right? And I want that to be in life. Everything should be fair, and you should treat other people the way you should be treated. And that's how I want my kids to treat other people out there, no matter if they're either they've got lots of money or they don't have lots of money, or they can be they can be a mean person, or they're a nice person. You treat them the same. Unless they be mean to you, then you can go, okay, and just ignore that person, or try have nothing to do with that person if they're going to treat you like that.
And would you encourage your kids and other kids to get into sport and even into boxing? I mean, boxing's changing. I suppose there's lots of media attention around head knocks and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, look, I would definitely tell people to get into sport, not necessarily boxing, because there are risks and things in boxing, especially for children doing boxing. But definitely, movement is what keeps us alive, right? We need to keep moving to and have exercise to be a healthy human being, and kids need to learn that at an early age, and we need to keep bringing it through life.
And we've got the 2032 games here in sunny Brisbane, an outdoor environment. Are you excited?
I'm very excited. It's going to be such a great time, and it's going to probably transform our city once again into something bigger and better. And everyone wants to come here now. Everyone wants to live in Brisbane. We can tell by our house prices going ridiculous. We've got something special coming up in 2032, and I'm really excited for it.
Where are they going to have the boxing?
That is a very good question.
That's my job.
Yeah.
Good questions. You don't know? You don't want to answer?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not really part of those kind of discussions that they're having.
You're not Greg Norman up there. You know the direct line of the shark.
No.
Tell you where it's Vic Park or wherever. But there's a stadium, but there's also 43 other sports in the Olympics. That
exactly.
You don't just there's athletics and there's swimming and there's basketball and there's a stadium that can hold a number of those sports. But then there's other sports out there.
We've got plenty of little stadiums around the place that we could use and expand of not just Brisbane, but even a little bit further expanse to have even more to utilise for these Olympics. But you could always then build more too, right? Whether or not that's
money.
viable to do, but we've got to transform a little bit. We've got to do something to make it a landmark, and at Brisbane is Brisbane.
And what would be nirvana for you in regards to watching boxing in Brisbane? Where would it be, or is there anything you can think of, or in the area, or?
I would just love to be there.
Yeah.
I'd love to be there, watching and supporting the boxing in 2032. Like to have something to do with it. Be commentating or something. Talking to the boxers going through.
Yep.
Just want to have something to do with the Olympics.
Yeah, and just on that with the communicating, the social media generation, we talk about it, and there's things like Instagram now with athletes that probably wasn't as prominent when you were an athlete.
I wish it was. I thought that no, kind of, because it's such that is a money making machine, right? Social media. But if I would have realized that in my peak of my boxing career, I would have millions of probably followers online.
Yeah, okay, so there's a positive there that you could have had, 5 million. How many you got now?
I've got like 100,000 or something like that.
Right, so after this episode, don't forget, it'll go to 250 straight away,
Yeah.
right? Like Sam Constance did in the Boxing Day Test match.
That'd be great, yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't promise it, but we could give it a good crack.
Because we know, right? That's how you get sponsors on board. That if you can show that what you're doing is everyone's going to be watching it, that's worth money to people. So your sponsors jump on board.
And what about you doing like the stories of you having a coffee and stuff, or doing in the gym 24/7 hustle hashtag?
Don't normally do that so much. I think I went through a phase there of trying to do stuff like that, but I just just can't.
It's not you.
No, I
You got to
can't.
be reflective. I think you got to be reflective. If you are an extrovert, then that's okay. I think
Yeah,
there's no problem with
exactly.
that. But if you're
I feel like then not everything you do is going to be interesting. So you can't be sharing everything, and people are going to.
How do you know that, Jeff? You know Jeff Horn,
I guess they could be
interested in what coffee?
I haven't found
Do you
them
drink
yet.
coffee?
Yeah, definitely.
What are you on? Like a flat white or what?
Yes, you got it. You got flat white too.
Yeah, I'm a flat white. Yeah, we'll do one after. But how many do you have a day?
Just one.
Just before midday?
No, I normally have it in the morning.
Yeah, that's before midday, but it's all right.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Before
You're
midday,
right.
because then after midday you got to get a little bit itchy. You get a bit caffeine.
Normally, if it's probably a bad habit and probably shouldn't really say it, but like an energy drink, if I'm gonna have a late night, it would be more. I wouldn't have another coffee. I'd have an energy.
Surely an energy drink would have approached you in your time and said, "Put Jeff Horn's face on it." No?
I don't think so.
Well, there's an opportunity there if you like an energy drink, right? Well, thinking business ideas here already. We've got to get you to 5 million followers first. When you sort of not think about boxing and you're thinking about your family and whatnot, do you just sort of switch off? You read a book or you listen to a podcast, watch Netflix?
Look, fun for me is basically watching a series of something with the wife on Netflix when the kids are down in bed watching TV, or having friends over or something to play some board games. That's me.
Particular series now that you're watching on Netflix?
No, anything.
Like you like the crime stuff or you like the
Not
sort of
so
light
much
stuff?
the crime stuff, but we've gone through so many series of things over the years, but all the stuff you would probably hear about.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah, Breaking Bad.
Sopranos back in the day, the OG.
No, not Sopranos.
Yeah.
Walking Dead. That stuff. Wife never liked that, but
Ozark.
no, not Ozark.
Should watch that. It's good.
Yeah.
What's one I watched recently?
There's probably hours and hours more we could watch.
Yeah, but there's the ones that I like now are the ones that have like 6 episodes or 7 episodes.
Yeah.
Just a block.
That's easy.
You can get through it and you're like, well, that was good. That was interesting. Maybe they'll do a series too. The Night Agent was one actually. Was a recent one. And what about kids' TV shows? Are you all over the kids' TV shows?
Not really, because they're all over the place now. Kids can watch YouTube.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is a dangerous thing, but
yeah,
they can flick through and change whatever they want, and they've got Netflix and Disney Plus and things like that, so they're watching all different types of things.
Now, in previous podcasts, I've done a little thing called the Scoreboard moment, and it's one moment in your life which has changed your life or you think is obviously very important to you. I'm going to ask you that question. Most people go, oh, of course, it's when the hand was raised at Suncorp Stadium, but it might not be. So what's the one moment in your life you think defined who you are and maybe something which you remember forever?
I guess it's probably there's a few times, but the earliest I guess moment of it is probably meeting my wife, even though we met in very early days in high school, but then finally getting together and she's been my rock, I guess, the whole time through the hard times and through the easy times as well, and that's kind of what's changed. I've been with her for ages.
The support network how important was that? Your friends that backed you no matter what was?
Yeah. Like it's very important to have your friends, your family, your partner, all supporting you for what you do and being there to when you need them and
getting the text message when you lose, because you probably don't get as many text messages when you lose.
You get very, very little when you lose, that's for sure. You do from the people that actually probably are the true supporters, but then I don't know, they could be still messaging you at that time too I don't know. But normally not. Normally it's the ones that actually really do care.
And Jeff, one final question, one piece of advice for a young Jeff that's growing up, that's watching soccer on KO now and all the stuff that we didn't have and aspiring to be a professional soccer player. What do you want to tell them? Just
to dream big, work hard. You're going to have to make sacrifices in your life and things that you do love doing, and you're going to have to give them up to get done what you want to do if you want to accomplish your dreams.
Jeff Horn, thank you so much for being on Scoreboard. I really do appreciate your time and coming in. Congratulations on what you've achieved thus far in your life with boxing, and now as a dad of 3 children in the next phase of your life, and all the best with Bullyproof.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Chris.